Under my leadership, the AFP will have a laser focus on disrupting crimes that undermine our sovereignty, our democracy, our social cohesion, our financial institutions, our future prosperity. We have seen a changing operating environment for us as law enforcement and as the AFP here in Australia. And so another reason why I'm really calling out social cohesion as part of my laser focus and the importance that social cohesion has to our democracy, to the very fundamentals of being an Australian and feeling safe and secure to live in Australia.
Yeah. How concerning is this increase in political violence, and how much resources is that taking by the AFP? Have you had to try and ramp up security, for example, for politicians and that kind of thing?
It has been a shift in the environment in the last couple of years, to the point that, under my leadership, the AFP has established national security investigations teams. So to be very clear, these are teams that will be dedicated to investigating and disrupting, high harm activity that threatens our social cohesion. Part of that is threats against federal parliamentarians as well. So these teams will be located in Melbourne, in Sydney and in Canberra.
So how are these NSI teams, for example, how prepared are they to deal with politically motivated violence, for example, that falls short of terrorism offences but are still sort of threatening public safety?
So a couple of things I would say there. We have had legislation for a little while now specific to hate crimes, to hate symbols, to those types of offences that I'm describing. So we have had investigators investigating those matters, but by standing up dedicated teams, a number of benefits there. First and foremost, we are calling out clearly to any individuals or groups who are partaking or driving this type of behaviour, where it gets to a point that it is criminal behaviour. They are on notice, and these teams will sit within our Counter-Terrorism and Special Investigations Command. But the benefit of having the teams, as I said, it'll be a dedicated focus, but it ensures that there'll be coordination across the country.
Do you think there needs to be a conversation around how we define terrorism in this sort of new era where we are seeing, for example, right-wing extremists or whichever group it might be, directly trying to create fear in the community and target social cohesion?
The bulk of our investigations and or caseload has been related to religiously motivated violent extremism. What we have seen in the shift in the operating environment in the last couple of years is, behaviours, activities that are not, they're not at the threshold of being a terrorist act. But they do have significant national security consequences, and we do know that these types of behaviours do have the possibility of leading to violent extremism.
Policing is having to adapt to this changing environment. Do you feel like there's, the legislative measures in place at the moment are sufficient for you to do your job the most effectively?
So we have the hate crimes legislation, for example, which was introduced earlier this year, and we have a number of investigations that are underway under that new legislation. Part of our approach to these national security investigations teams is looking at, as I've described the national strategy, looking at where are the policy levers, where are potential opportunities for new legislation and or amended legislation. Is the legislation working for us as it stands? So that is part of how we're approaching this from, from a strategic perspective as well as an operational perspective.